Good day, friends. This is Bobby here once again with episode 4 of the Girmit days. So, last 3 days, I took you through a journey where the Indians, the indentured Indians, were brought into Fiji and how they had to travel the sea for about 72 days via Sydney till they reached Fiji. We also spoke about how the agents would look into people like those people, vulnerable people who would like to make a quick buck and come up in their society and who were coerced into coming across the Fiji via various routes. One of the main thing that main study or lesson that was learned yesterday was how they would dupe those people, those vulnerable people, and tell that Fiji was a small village very close to Calcutta. If you come over there, you would get more money and lesser job that you normally do, and you can live peacefully forever after. So, the indentured labor agreement also mentioned like you could work for about 5 years, and it was a form of slavery, and those Indians were easy targets who could be taken on board and brought onto the plantation field of Fiji, and they could actually be made to work there in spite of all the hardships that they were going through. So as I mentioned yesterday, there were about 32 in the first lot and another 32 in the second lot. Those people who came down from New Carolina, and those were Indians who were tested out in Fiji in the month of Jan 1879. And the owners of this plantation knew that these Indians were very nice, very bright, in fact, to do the task that was allocated to them. But the point is that because these people came from New Carolina, they had much better option. When they looked at the Girmit, the agreement that was signed, the agreement that was signed, and they saw like the amount of work that was given to you, it didn't marry each other, and they opposed these things. So the management or the owners of the plantation, they knew that this was trouble out there, and they let them go, and they went back to New Carolina. And that is when they decided, you know what, Indians were the best people, and we would get cheap labor from India, and let's bring them on board. And that is how Fiji was colonized by British. And because after the colonization, India and Fiji, they made an agreement that okay, we will start sending people, Indians, from the using the boat across to Fiji for the plantation. So now let's assume like yesterday I left it at like that mother that was carrying the baby for 72 days. She was traveling over the sea, and finally she reaches Fiji, and she was put into quarantine for about 78 days. Now imagine like that mother who is there, her husband is there, and she has no idea. She has signed the agreement. And remember, yesterday I missed out on a point. You know what? When these people were taken to in front of the magistrate one on one, they had to sign and they had to agree that they understand the rules, and I am ready to go to Fiji to do the work. Now, how can a person who is uneducated, who doesn't have any clue what is happening, sign these documents? Either they were forced to sign, or when they went to the in front of the magistrate, the agent also went along with them. So the decision probably was a proxy that the agent was taking on behalf of those individuals. So they had no idea they were going, what they were signing their life onto, and they finally reaches Fiji. Now let's take for an instance, let's go to into the shoes of that mother. The mother is there having a child in the womb. Probably the child was born on the ship or whatever it is during this thing, and she was there. She had no family, nothing. And at that time, the ratio of a women was like there was one woman for five guys. So there was a shortage of women in the camp. And finally, like one gentleman, a Muslim gentleman, an Islamic gentleman, he felt sad for that mother and married her. Okay, they had a family out there. Now it was said during the time that in this agreement, kids below 12 years need not work. Okay, but as soon as they touch the 12 years mark, they have to go to the plantation and work. Now the mother is working, the father is working, and they were given, like for example, like there were 8 pencils that were given to them at the end of the day, like on a daily basis. And when they get these things, and the living standards in Fiji was way higher than India, so whatever they were earning, they were spending for something. But it was not such a rosy ride. The Maharaj or the Sardar, whom they call, which is like the person who controls the set of people around in that area, he never used to listen to the way the hardships. Even if there was a complaint, he would brush them aside or whip them. Okay, so these people who were working out there tirelessly without going home, they were actually being treated as slaves, literally slaves. They could complain further on to the next, which was the operator level, and it is said, it is written in the books that the sardars and the operators, they were very strong, and they would team up and go against those people who were working there. Nevertheless, whatever it may be, 5 years down the line, when these people who were working out there, they had an opportunity of going back home. If they did not perform, up to the standards, they were sent back home. But the thing is, all these people who came on here to Fiji, they saw that even through the hardships, they were together as one family. All those people who went to the camp, they went as one family. That means people from Tamil Nadu or Madras, people from Calcutta, people from Gujarat, Madras, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Baluchistan, all those people congregated in that camp. Hence, from there developed that new language called Fiji Indian, which is also called Fijian Bath, or also called Fijian Hindustani, Fiji Hindus. They have a different type of Hindi. So in future, what I will do is, like, I will bring on board new people from Fiji Indians, and you can listen to them talk in their own language, and you would be amazed how interesting it is. So friends, saying all that, the hardships, okay, I was focusing on the hardships and all those things. They had an opportunity of going back on their own accord, or they can work in those camps for another 5 years, and they would be given liberty to pick and choose. They would be taken back to India or wherever they came from free of cost, or they had an opportunity of settling down in Fiji. Many of the Indians who came from India into this camp decided to stay back because they already had another family. That means the guys who left their wives behind, they found new wives. The ladies who left their husbands back, they found a new husband here. They had a new family here. It was already 10 years down the line. They went through the hardship. They went through a big curve. And also, as for the Indian culture, when they go back, do you think that they would be accepted at home? Just imagine. So all those things that were there led them to stay back in Fiji, and they had prospered. What happens is, when they made the money after those 10 years, they invested out there. There came a time when Fiji Indians were more than Fijians. The book also suggests that unlike the Fijians, where they would, if there's a hardship that comes across them, they would lay down and say, oh, let me die. But it also suggests that the Indians who came from India into Fiji, because they went through the grind, the book suggests, the Britishers have written this book, suggests that these Indians would never die. They had a dream. They were survivors. We could not believe the way these guys, these Indians, would stare into our eyes and say, like, we would never die. Such a beautiful attitude. Don't you think that this is what life teaches us? When life throws a curveball like you, what do? You don't run away. You take it face on. When life throws a stone at you, what do? You build your castle. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bobby Phillips, and I would request you to share these information across to the outside world, so that people also know what exactly happened during those times from 1879 to 1916, when a lot of Indians, about 60,500 Indians, were taken on board onto the ships and left on the shores of Fiji. And today the Fiji Indian community is thriving, and if I look left, right and center, the Fiji Indian community here in Sydney, Australia, as well as across Australia, are one of the most successful people in the area of business, in the area of jobs, in the area of like intelligence, like PhDs, everything. So let's support them, let's embrace them, and let's share our love to that community, as well as like we request the Fiji Indians to reach across to Indians and shake hands and say hello. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bobby Phillips, and I'm here in Sydney taking leave from you till we meet up next time. Namaste. Be cool.